Today, we are going to be talking about freedom of association, and more specifically, how this idea relates to the far right and their concept of the ethnostate. The far right likes ethnostates and regularly mentions freedom of association when trying to promote this stupid idea. The idea is that certain racial and ethnic groups have the right to form their own race or ethnicity-based communities. This is an ethnostate. It is an organized community that by design strictly controls ethnic and racial diversity. Normally when far right-wingers talk about ethnostates, they talk about all-white ethnostates. It is basically segregation but taken to a new extreme on a national level. It is a stupid and immoral concept that puts far too much value on race, which is its key foundation. So how does freedom of association relate to this? Freedom of association is the idea that people should be able to move about, joining and leaving groups and communities freely and as they please. The ultimate version of this idea could be seen in some kind of anarchist society, where people can move freely between communities and across the now non-existent borders. The issue with the far-right interpretation of freedom of association is that it is inconsistent. People can associate with each other as they like, except for one thing. A person of the other race is not allowed to. This is after all the whole point of an ethnostate. See how long freedom of association lasted? It lasted only as long as it was useful for enforcing racism. If people cannot move around solely because of their unimportant racial characteristics, then you do not have freedom of association. These far-right morons do not value freedom of association. If you do not value it the second it is inconvenient, then it is obvious that it is not something you value at all. This idea is in extreme opposition to freedom of association, as the ethnostate puts the importance of unimportant racial characteristics above the importance of freedom of association. Any far-right winger who speaks of freedom of association when advocating for the ethnostate is an idiot who should be mocked and laughed at. They are nothing but racist fools willing to use any dishonesty they can to push their stupid, hate-filled ideology and evil ideas.